Hi, welcome back to Discovering Durham University with At the Durham Student. On today's episode, Extracurricular Excellence, we're going to provide a spotlight on sports and performing arts. We hope you enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast. Today we're going to be talking about all the extracurriculars at Durham University. Today I'm joined by Layla and Ed, who will now introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Layla. I'm a third year from Mary's and I study psychology.
Hi, I'm Ed. I'm a third year from Grey and I'm studying chemistry and physics.
Can you guys give me an overview of what extracurriculars you guys are involved at Durham?
So at the moment I'm very involved in dance. I do Mary's dance, but that kind of spills over into other things. So I just did Footloose, which was with one of the theatre companies in Durham. So even though that was through dance, it's kind of going into the more theatre side of things. And even though I'm taking a break from orchestra at the moment, I am involved in the Hill Orchestra here. So very much the performing arts side of things.
Yeah, so I'm also kind of quite involved in performing arts. So I am part of the Durham University brass band, so sort of doing sort of music side of things. I also am a member of Durham University Gymnastics and Trampolining Club, and I've been doing both of those since first year, and I really enjoy doing them.
Yeah, fun. I do a DU sport, so I do powerlifting, which is it's not the one that you throw above your head, which I think a lot of people get mixed up with. It's basically just squatting, benching, and deadlifting. It's quite a fun sport actually. Yeah. So we're just going to dive a bit into sports for a bit. So what are some popular sports at Durham, and how do college sports differ from university level sports?
I mean, I think potentially one of the most popular is rowing. We're quite lucky to be on the river, River Weir. So there's a lot of rowing.
There's always the regatta as well. Like I think everyone just goes down to the race course.
Yeah, there is that in the summer.
Yeah.
That's really nice. I mean, there's the football, cricket, kind of all sorts of different things. Obviously, some more like niche ones like gymnastics and trampolining. Other sort of stuff.
I think there's like literally just every single sport you can think of. I think last year we were Sports University of the Year as well.
Yes, yeah.
So, but yeah, I know because obviously we do a Team Durham sports, but you can also do sports at a collegiate level, like at a college level, and I think it's a lot more casual in the sense of you can join in, like do it for fun type of thing. I did college netball. I actually formed the college club at my college, so I'm from South. So when I came, I was the first cohort. There was no netball club, so I helped form that. But when I came to university, I was like, I'm gonna do DU netball because I loved netball growing up, and I was like, oh my god, it's so fun! I'd love to play netball for Durham. I got to Durham University and I just realised just how competitive Team Durham sports is, and then these netball girls, and I didn't end up going to trials because college girls were so good as well, and I was like, I'm not I was president of my netball club and I put myself in Team C. So but colleges are such a great way to get involved in sports and enjoy it without needing to you could it's obviously competitive. I think there's so much rivalry between colleges, but it's a way to just experience sports without the demand of a Team Durham sport, I guess.
Yeah, I think some of the Team Durham sports are quite sort of heavy and it's a big commitment. I mean, it does depend on the sport. So, so for trampolining, which I'm in, it's free to join for just anyone. So there's no tryouts or anything, but that's probably just because there isn't any college level.
Yeah, there's no
that
college
kind of stuff.
level.
I think for some of the more sort of niche sports where there's only sort of university level sports, some of them are a little bit sort of less competitive. But we do still obviously go compete against other universities as well. I think one of the nice things about university level sport is going and competing against sort of people from other universities that you might have never met before.
Bucks is such a exciting thing, and just the university pride really shows through. But I really enjoy the competition between colleges as well.
Yeah,
I know Collingwood is known as a sporty college. I think they have I think their football team goes up to Team N or something silly. They have.
I believe that a few years ago, Collingwood College Football Club was the largest amateur football club in all of Europe.
Oh.
Yes. So Collingwood's got a lot of football teams.
A lot of football teams. I think they're gonna have to start inventing more letters eventually. It's ridiculous. But and then we're gonna go over to music and performing arts for a bit. Could you share insights into music and performing arts scene at Durham? Just delve more into that.
So I can talk a little bit about theatre. There are so many theatre companies in Durham, so there's just always so much to get involved in. And so some of these will be like linked to specific colleges, or there are some that are just generic or will have like niches. So for example, I think Sightline Productions focuses on voicing underrepresented groups. And so they'll have their specific niches. And each week, if you become a member of Durham Student Theatre, which is the main central hub for theatre in Durham, you get the weekly email and you can look at all the opportunities and auditions or backstage and creative opportunities. So there's honestly so much to get involved in. There's never something missing, or if there is, there's always a way you can just like say, oh, I think, like we should do this, and there'll be someone there who is thinking the same thing. So.
I think that's such a nice thing about Durham University. If there is a club or society or, theatre thing like that doesn't exist, it's so easy to just get that going, I think. And there's so many like theatre shows popping up and so many theatre company productions. It's just great to see. What about from
Yeah, I mean, so in the same way that kind of Durham Student Theatre is sort of the umbrella organisation of theatre, you've got Durham Student Music, which kind of does the same thing for all the different music societies, of which there are a lot. So obviously I'm part of the brass band. There's also several orchestras, sort of both auditioned ones at sort of a higher level and then sort of non-auditioned ones at sort of a lower level. There's choral societies, a cappella groups, sort of more modern jazz things. Lots of the different colleges have their own sort of jazz groups as well. So I know there's Basement Jazz at Mary's, there's Grollingwood, sort of between Grey and Collingwood, kind of a mix. So a lot of the colleges have their own sort of little jazz societies, but again, there's also all the different university-wide societies at sort of both an auditioned and non-auditioned level. So there's lots for all kinds of different people as well, which is really nice.
How do you think these like clubs and societies enhance the student experience?
I mean, it's really nice just to meet people. So obviously, a lot of the time, you meet a lot of people in college, and sometimes it's kind of more difficult to meet people in other different colleges and sort of around the university. So I think like these kinds of things just sort of help you meet all sorts of different people, as well as, just giving you stuff to do and help you sort of enhance your skills in whatever sort of particular area of stuff you are interested in.
I think as well, meeting people across the year groups, which is, I know a lot of people have said how that's one of the biggest differences about university and school is you'll have friends in different year groups and you won't even think anything about it. And I feel like societies and clubs is a big reason for that. So it's
absolutely. Like I've got lots of friends in sort of brass band and trampolining that are sort of across all the different year groups, and it's really nice. That is a really nice thing about university, is having friends sort of just across the university, across all the different year groups.
It's that nice little like sense of community as well, and like belonging to a group with like a shared common interest. And I also think going to university, I think obviously you're there to get your degree, but you're also there to become a more well-rounded person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like picking up hobbies, picking up skills. I hadn't even gone to the gym before university, and now I'm doing powerlifting, and it's just such a nice way to explore and just to have these little like adventures. And I'm so glad I've picked up the skills and the hobbies I have now. But with you guys being involved in these societies and these, are there any student-run initiatives or projects that stand out for their impact or uniqueness?
I mean, I think there's various different things. There is a massive load of sort of volunteering opportunities across the university in kind of all different types of things. Something that we do have that I think is particularly good is the Nightline service. That's something you can get involved in. They help train volunteers for active listening, and then of course you go on call overnight if anyone sort of needs some help. There's also so I've been involved in some charity concerts at times. So I think Durham Student Music run a concert called Never Give Up in sort of second term, which is all about mental health and raising money for charity to help deal with that kind of stuff. So lots of different ensembles from different groups participate in that concert just to raise some money. As a brass band, we've got a small ensemble that's participated in that for a few years. yeah, so that's just a nice sort of thing to get involved with. And there's lots of all different other types of things that you can just get involved with to sort of help out.
I can imagine these like concerts and these like theatre productions, a lot of the local community as well would probably attend, I'd assume. Like it's not just the student population.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can imagine it's just a nice way to connect with the local community as well. So that seems quite a nice thing. What about do you guys do socials and stuff with your clubs or societies?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of different types of socials, and I think something that's really good is having socials that sort of cater to all different kinds of like what people enjoy. I think a lot of sort of recently there's sort of definitely been a big depart away from sort of socials where everyone just goes and gets completely hammered, because I think a lot of people actually don't really just want to do that.
Is that also because we're in third year though? And we're just over it.
Yeah, well, one of our traditional brass band socials is going over to someone's house, compressing the band into someone's living room and watching the film Brassed Off. So we do that every year. And that's just a really nice thing. And obviously you can bring drinks and drink if you want to, but a lot of people don't. So it's just a really nice sort of event that we have each year. And we have some other socials. Another traditional one we have is in the last week of the first term, we go around lots of different college bars and we play carols in the college bars.
I do love the festive period in Durham, specifically for all the concerts. It is just like those tickets sell out so quickly. Like just to like certain concerts, they sell out so quickly.
Yeah, I think we're similar. A lot of the socials will be like there's the option if you want to drink that is there,
absolutely.
but it's not like surrounded with drinking. We had one of the first dance socials. We had to send in our baby pictures and guess each other's baby pictures to kind of get to know each other more, which was really fun. So yeah, there's always like little challenges that aren't necessarily surrounded by drinking, so it's more inclusive for everyone.
How did you guys, like when you're joining a new sport or society or club, how did you guys almost overcome the nerves of doing that, I guess? It can be quite a daunting thing sometimes to do. How did you guys manage that?
I actually joined Mary's Dance as a third year, which was very scary. I always wanted to do it, but I was very intimidated because I hadn't danced before uni. So it was quite a scary thing for me, but everyone was so welcoming. And I think it's just kind of getting past that first bit of like turning up the first rehearsal and just kind of speaking to someone and getting involved.
And everyone's just really welcoming as well.
Yeah, and once you realise how welcoming everyone is, it's like you kind of wonder why it took you so long to join in the first place. So it's really great.
Yeah, absolutely. Like so so before coming to Durham, I'd never played in a brass band before. So I played the trombone, and I'd been playing the trombone for a few years, but I had never actually joined a brass band before. But it was just so I initially encountered the brass band at the Freshers' Fair, which happened in Freshers' Week, and they all seemed really nice and really friendly, and I thought I'd go along to the first rehearsal, and it was really fun and welcoming, and just everyone was so nice, and I just thought, I'll stick with this one.
It's also it's a good point in knowing that like if you don't join something in first year, it doesn't mean that you that's it. Like that's it for the rest of your university experience. You can't join anything ever again. Because there's also like refresher fairs as well that's specifically aimed at like second and third years. And it's one of those things. When I came to university, I wanted to pick up something new every single year. But obviously, I think my first year was very COVID impacted as well. So it was a bit of a different time back then.
Yeah.
But no, it's just I didn't join my DU sport until February last year, and I was very intimidated. I was like, I'm probably not strong enough. I've never gone to the gym. I'm not athletic. Cardiac kills me.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. But it's so nice to know that there's always an opportunity every single term to join things. You can join things mid-term as well, and it's just a great way. Like, and it's as much commitment as you want it to be. I presume there's obviously going to be, societies or clubs that require higher commitment, but I guess it's nice and easy to be able to actually balance things with your academics. Would you agree? But yeah, that's actually bringing me to my next question. So, how do students typically balance their academic responsibilities with extracurricular involvement?
I mean, I think like a lot of extracurriculars don't have much of sort of a weekly commitment anyway. So like brass band, we rehearse once a week. trampolining, we have 3 training sessions a week, but you don't have to come to each one. You can sort of come to as many training sessions as you like. So obviously, sort of, you know, the fact that it doesn't require as much of a commitment is obviously helpful. And I mean, you know, in a lot of these things, there's sort of ways to get more involved. Like you could be on sort of the executive committee and sort of get more involved in the society, but obviously that's sort of a voluntary thing, so you don't always have to do that. And then you know, so you can balance having various different things with your degree, I think.
Yeah, and I think with some of the societies that do require more commitment, so such as theatre is known for being quite a heavy commitment leading up to a show, there's always people who are checking in and welfare checks. So if you do feel like it's getting a bit overwhelming or it's a bit too much, there's always someone you can go to and talk to about it. So you never really feel like you're just left by yourself with all of this work to do and too much commitment, which is nice.
I know like every single society / club usually has a welfare representative in like on their student exec. And I think it's such a heavy thing that it's nice to know that students are also looking out for other students, and it's just a nice tight-knit like community that's really lovely to be a part of. But also, like, I don't know how it is at other universities, but at Wednesdays there's not a lot of contact hours for a lot of us, because it's like Wednesdays are usually known for just like sports, like in terms of like matches or stuff like that. So I have quite low contact hours anyway. It's just in my third year of biology, but I like throughout my whole time at Durham University, there's always Wednesdays have always been quite known just because there's always like matches going on down at MC or stuff. But yeah, is that different for chemistry and physics? I feel like it is.
No, I think that's a university-wide thing. I think so. Wednesday afternoons always have nothing on, and I think that might be something that other universities do as well. So that then there can be sort of inter-university matches on Wednesday afternoons, or sort of when.
Yeah, and also it's just such a emphasis on the fact that we can do these extracurriculars alongside academics.
Doing a degree.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in what ways do these extracurricular activities contribute to leadership and skill development? It's a very loaded question.
I mean, within societies, there's always options to have an exec role, which obviously comes with leadership and a certain level of organisation. So I think the society will usually have, is it an AGM or an EGM?
AGM,
I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
So you can run for a role, and there's loads of different ones available. So whether you want like the president, or if you want something a bit smaller, there's always something available, which is a good
I mean, so like so as the brass band, we have a lot of different exec roles. So I'm currently the treasurer, which means that I sort of manage the money, but then there's also roles like the president, which means obviously you manage sort of everything. But then there's obviously the smaller roles, like just sort of publicity officer, who sort of does publicity for our concerts, runs the social media, the social secretary, who sort of plans the socials, runs the socials. And there's kind of all sorts of different roles. And obviously, depending on what kind of society you have, there'll be different roles at each society, but pretty much every club, society, sports thing has an executive committee, and they're always a really good way of sort of getting more involved, getting some leadership skills, sort of learning different skills that you can use at all kinds of different stages in your life.
So it's obviously good for your professional development as well, in terms of just being able to whack it on your CV, whack it on your LinkedIn. But it's just nice to like have that level of responsibility, but also know that you can lean on your peers as well, and also that you're helping affect positive change for incoming students as well, and people joining your club, and it's almost leaving like a stamp behind. And it's just, and I think alumni, like I think people are very well connected, so like very nostalgic about the things that they were involved in. I know loads of sports have alumni club dinners at the end of the year where alumni come back from all over the country, and it's just to relive that, you know, that almost unique experience of being part of a small community in a like a university that has communities within colleges, and just it's just another nice layer of that collegiate system, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, so a couple of years ago was our the brass band's 20th anniversary. So we had an alumni dinner. We invited lots of people back. We also had a nice alumni rehearsal. So we invited alumni to just come to a rehearsal, and just we all sort of played some of the pieces that we've sort of played over the years as the band. So yeah, that was just that was really nice to sort of just see, obviously, some people who are sort of quite a lot older than us, because obviously if you were in the band 20 years ago, then that's, you know, probably about sort of 40 or so now. But
imagine coming back in 20 years and like the band that you were a part of, it's still growing and
exactly,
still going,
And I think like someone who came was, I think, potentially the sort of the first ever conductor of the band. He came, so it was really nice to just sort of have that alumni connections and stuff. And I think those sorts of things are really nice, just keeping in touch with the alumni. And,
now on to, how have your extracurricular activities contributed to your personal growth and university experience?
So I think a big one for me is like how it's built my confidence. Definitely, which is something that comes with performing, and when you're on a stage in front of your friends and people you don't know, and you're kind of putting yourself out there, it makes other things like applying for jobs and eventually having to do interviews and things a lot less daunting when you've already kind of been on stage and performed in that way and gotten used to that. So it's definitely built my confidence a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say the same thing, especially like being on sort of the executive committee in a group. It kind of helps you sort of gain a bit of confidence in yourself, in sort of your own abilities, as well as just general sort of social stuff in terms of like going and talking with people and sending difficult emails, all kinds of stuff.
It's nice to get out of your comfort zone in a supportive environment as well. And I also think it's good to remember that everyone else is in the same boat as well. It's going to be people's first times also doing these, you know, sports or these societies and stuff. So it's nice to just have that shared, we're in the same boat type of thing. So definitely, and also just friendships. I can imagine like most of your
like most of my friends, like, you know, a lot of my friends I've made sort of through college, but pretty much everyone else that I'm friends with I've made through different extracurriculars, and it's just you know, it definitely sort of enhances your university experience, because obviously you're doing a degree, but it's really nice to just, you know, have these other things that you're doing at the same time that sort of help grow you as a person. And
What about you? Have you managed to find your friends, find your people through dance?
Yeah, well, I've met a lot of friends who are in first year this year, which is really nice, because if I hadn't done dance, I probably wouldn't have interacted with the freshers much. But and also in my own year, who hadn't really spoke to before, but starting dance now, and then realising we actually have more in common than we had thought originally, which is really nice. Just definitely an opportunity just to meet loads of new people.
It's really nice actually seeing first years get stuck in. I also think because our first year was obviously very COVID impacted, so it's nice to see like the first years just take as many opportunities that come their way, and it's really nice and like heartwarming to see environment for a lot of people. Like this year we had a mentorship and like mentee scheme where it's pretty much like college families in terms of so it's just nice to have those different realms of communities from your college, your department, but also these extracurriculars. So what advice would you give to new students about getting involved in extracurricular activities?
Go to the Freshers' Fair and the Sports Fair, because
freebies
and just everything will be there. And you can just you'll see societies that you'd never even thought would have existed. Sports that you might not have even heard of, and it's just, you know, it's nice to just go and see everything that's on offer, and you know, and you can sort of really get stuck in, just sort of pick some that you want,
and I feel like just sign up for everything. So they'll have their QR codes, and you can join their Facebook group or the mailing list. And I'm still on so many from like my Freshers Week, and I am still like, maybe I should just go along this week, which like I'm sure people would be.
And like, don't be afraid to just go along to things, even if you think that you might not necessarily be able to continue with everything for the whole year. You know, go to sort of a couple of things for each one, just try everything out, because you know, all these societies will let you just come and try it out.
There's always taster sessions. Exactly, it's always nice to have.
There's loads of taster sessions. Do taster sessions. Just sort of get stuck in as far as you want, really.
Also, the Durham Student Union website, that's like where the list of societies are. But also, if you come to Durham and there isn't something there isn't a sport that you do, or there isn't a society that really exists, create it. Even if you're in your first year, you know, take the initiative. You know, it's quite an easy process, I believe. You just go to the Durham Student Union and you have to ratify the society. but it's also, yeah, just sign up to absolutely everything. You don't have to click, you don't have to gel with everything, you don't have to, you might turn up to a social or a taste session, be like, no, this isn't for me, but university is one of the best times to explore that. And it's such a hub, it's such a social hub where when you go out into like the real world and you become an adult, I don't really think there's ever such a centralized place where you can try so many different things.
Yeah, definitely.
And also the facilities that this university has as well, in terms of, see, we're currently in the Purple Radio recording studio at Maiden Castle, and the facilities that we have here, we're actually quite lucky to have that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, do you guys have any memorable moments or achievements from your extracurricular involvement that you'd like to share?
A recent one would probably be the fashion shows that I just did with Mary's Dance, which we actually haven't talked about much now, but the fashion shows are a massive thing in Durham.
They are.
And so Mary's Dance performed at Revival and Cuts fashion show, and it's just such a different atmosphere to any other performance you do. And it's all for charity as well, which is so nice. But everyone's so involved, and it's just such a supportive crowd, which is definitely a highlight. It's one of my favourite performances.
Yeah, I mean, so quite recent achievement actually from brass band is that, so every year we compete in the Uni Brass competition, which is like a sort of inter-university brass band contest, sort of all across the UK. And so that was actually just last weekend that we went to Uni Brass, and this year we came 7th in the top section, which we were quite pleased about. Last year we came 4th in the top section, which is probably one of our best results ever. So yeah, it's always a really nice thing to go and just do, and I think like it's an example of one of these things where it's sort of, you do it with your Durham society, but you get an opportunity to travel somewhere else and do it. So Uni Brass has been in Warwick for the past couple of years. The year before that it was in Sheffield. So there's all sorts of different places that you can go to with all these different societies that aren't Durham. So it's nice to sort of help you see other bits of the country as well as Durham.
And there's international tours as well that like some sports do and stuff.
Yeah, well, so brass band, we did a joint tour with Durham University concert band to Cologne in Germany last summer. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff internationally, nationally, traveling things. Yeah,
so that was my last question. But also, what is the nichest society that you guys are aware of?
I think there's like a frog society, and I don't know if this is an official society or what they actually do, but I've heard my friends talk about that, which is very niche.
What about you, Ed?
I'm not sure I can think of any in particular, but like there's all sorts of weird niche ones.
There's a potato society as well.
Yeah, there's a potato society. There's a curry society.
Oh, the curry society have like, so DU athletes have obviously the DU fleece.
Yes, and the curry society have their own sort of DU athlete style.
You like it's like when you walk around Durham and you see like people in like like their DU fleeces, like they do a DU sport. But the amount of times I've seen someone, I'm like, oh, they do a DU sport, and then I get closer and I'm like, oh, so it's the curry. Yeah. Oh no, that's brilliant. I know there's like a Barbie society recently as well. That was quite new. Cool. There's societies obviously for debating as well, but also there's associations for like to create safe student spaces. There's obviously DePoca, there's the LGBTQ society, there's the Trans Association as well. So when you get to Durham, there's going to be these spaces and communities for you as well. So definitely keep an eye out. Instagram pages where most societies publish things, I guess. Facebook. Before university, I stopped using Facebook. I was like, Facebook is like such a, it's something my mum uses. Yeah, and then like going to university, knowing that every single like society
everything's on Facebook.
Everything's on
Facebook. University runs on Facebook.
Yeah. That's all for our podcast. So if you are looking to go to Durham University and you're wanting to get involved in extracurriculars, just go online, go onto Facebook or the Instagram pages, go to the Freshers Fair when you're here, and just make the most of the opportunities that come your way. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on. Feel free to wave at the camera if you want. Thank you so much. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any further questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on our social media channels at The Durham Student. See you at the next one.